Is it a coincidence that the very first time I get myself a nosebleed while watching a hockey game, it's while watching that hockey game? The Vancouver Canucks have just played off against the Edmonton Oilers. By the way, I'm doing fine. Like, I had to spend the entire third period pinching my nose with a wet paper towel, but I'm okay now. Thank you for asking. The Vancouver Canucks, in a game where everybody was keeping their eyes out on a few particular names, Connor Garland in particular, the Canucks had themselves an opportunity here. Hey, they played well against Edmonton on Saturday. They got Connor McDavid suspended. Sure, Tyler Myers was also suspended, but still, the Vancouver team was victorious. They controlled play. JT Miller had multiple points, and Quinn Hughes had multiple goals. It was a great game on Saturday, and after what was a stinker 2 nights ago on Tuesday against the Buffalo Sabres, the Canucks were rolling into Alberta with a chance to do this one more time. A chance to get their momentum back. A chance to prove that their game against Edmonton on Saturday was no fluke, and that they are just that good. But then they went down 3-0 in this game against Edmonton, and then it was 4-0 in the second period, and by that time I was totally checked out. You know what Jannik Hansen said a year ago on Sportsnet 650? I don't even know if it was a year ago. It would have been 2 years ago. I bring this up every now and then, but I have been bringing it up a lot this season for obvious reasons. But when a hockey game gets to a 3-0, a 4-0, a 4-1, a 5-1 point, at that point, usually, there's nothing else that you can learn. The Vancouver Canucks allowed 3 goals on their first 10 shots against in this one. They were down 3-0 at the end of the first period. They were down 5-0 in the middle of the second. And at that point, I was like, yeah, I'm checked out. Like, that's it, man. I gotta go, like, just do whatever, finish up some chores, get a nosebleed, try to fix myself up from grabbing that nosebleed for some reason, and I don't know, it was kind of a stinker. It's kind of cold out nowadays in Vancouver, so we gotta be careful with how our respiratory systems respond to the crisp, brisk, cool air. But the Canucks, they just don't got it this year, man. This is it. It's painful being a Vancouver Canucks fan, and I'm not even specifically referring to the Connor McDavid, Connor Garland shenanigans. Like, the fact that Connor Garland was getting booed every time he touched the puck in this game, I think says a lot more about the Oilers fans than it does about the situation or about Connor Garland himself. Like, I was kind of going into this game saying, okay, well, I mean, he held McDavid. Yeah, that was a grab. That was interference. It probably should have been called, but then again, Garland holding on to McDavid at the end of last game, that's nothing we haven't seen before in the National Hockey League. Is it a call? Probably. Was it a call in the game, though? No, it wasn't. Okay, sorry. Connor McDavid, though, removed himself from the game by responding to that moment by just cross-checking the hell out of Connor Garland's head. Great. Connor Garland, as a result, he's the guy who gets taken down by McDavid with the cross-check. He draws the suspension for McDavid. Does that warrant him needing to get booed every time he touches the puck? I don't think so, personally, but the Oilers fans in the building, they disagreed, because every single time Garland had the puck, they booed their heads off. Honestly, I respect the commitment to the bit, because, I mean, that Oilers fan base, they had a lot to cheer for today, so going out there and doing their thing to try to get under Connor Garland's skin, that was definitely one of their highlights. Connor Garland also was involved in a bunch of other scrums and moments in this game that were particularly noteworthy for the amount of penalties given out. In particular, the play in the second period where Garland had the slash against Calvin Pickard. They dubbed it a slash, although he was going for the puck. It wasn't really loose in the crease, but it was kind of loose, and so I can understand 99% of hockey players in that position, especially at the NHL level, would go after that puck. Garland, though, gets the call on it, and he gets called again for roughing against Corey Perry, even though Corey Perry went out there and took down Quinn Hughes in the process. Perry's talking all this talk about protecting the Stars, but in the very next game, he goes out there and body slam tackles Quinn Hughes by pushing him head first into the ice. Like, okay, Corey Perry is not the cleanest whistle on the market, so I'm not going to go out there and pretend I expected anything more from him, but yeah. That's not a good look. That particular play, too, saw Garland get multiple penalty minutes. Garland roughing against Corey Perry, slashing against Cal Pickard. This is one of these things where when I watched it, I was like, really? Like, that's a multiple penalty thing for Garland? In fact, the Vancouver Canucks, how many power plays did they have on this game? They had 0. The Oilers had quite a few penalty minutes in this one. What is it? Darnell Nurse roughing against Desharnais. By the way, we'll get to Desharnais. Corey Perry roughing against Garland. Stetcher tripping against Bluger. Janmark roughing against Susie. But every single one of these penalties for the Oilers is negated by a Canucks penalty. The Canucks had 0 power plays. This is what Elliot Friedman was talking about. Oh, Connor McDavid, he was taken out. He was suspended. Vancouver did it to him. Wow, the evil, bad Vancouver Canucks. Are the referees going to be more lenient towards Edmonton in this game? Are they going to start calling more power plays for Edmonton this game? Are they going to start managing the game for Edmonton in this game? Yeah, it seems like it. Seems like it. And I totally get that not all of the penalties that Vancouver took were, like, unfair. The Teddy Bluger one for fighting, like, that is totally Bluger's fault. In the third period, the Canucks drew a penalty. They drew a potential power play. It was Troy Stetcher. He tripped up Teddy Bluger. It was going to be a power play for Vancouver. But before that play got whistled down and it ended up transitioning, Teddy Bluger, guess what? He gets involved with Corey Perry. Corey Perry doesn't drop the gloves. He's snarky. He's talking. That's what Corey Perry does. Teddy Bluger drops the gloves and starts wailing on the guy. And Bluger ends up getting a penalty when the Canucks had a power play opportunity pending. It's 4-on-4 afterwards. Like, really, that is one of these penalties where it's like, yeah, Bluger, that's your fault. Like, the Canucks didn't have any power play luck getting any power plays in this one. They had a chance. You blew it. Great. Mark Friedman got a misconduct for the most nothing play I've ever seen. He went out there and started talking to Corey Perry after Perry was going out there walking away from the frame, mouthing off, because that's what he does. And the Vancouver Canucks ultimately just crumble away. Talk about defense. Vinny Desharnais with the hat trick of bad penalties in the opening moments of this game. Cross-checking, tripping, interference. Desharnais gets involved everywhere in the worst way possible, and I don't know. What else is there to say about it at this point? The Vancouver Canucks are not in a good spot. I know they scored some goals here. Brock Boeser with the really nice snipe and everything, assisted by JT Miller. So there you go. Miller's getting points still. Incredible. But, like, he made it 5-1. Great. You know, Filip Hronek, one-time bomb from Quinn Hughes and Brock Boeser makes it 5-2. Great. How amazing is that for the Vancouver Canucks, right? Ultimately, though, the team, they just don't show enough. And Quinn Hughes, you have to rely on this guy for so much because the team doesn't do anything when he's not on the ice. This guy was getting 3-minute shifts out there on the 4-on-4. He's a man on a mission, man. He's a man possessed. And I think a lot of Canucks fans are really starting to internalize that idea that maybe one of the best seasons we are ever going to see in a Canucks jersey out of a defenseman is being wasted on this particular season. A season where they blow leads left, right, and center. They're playing boring dump and chase hockey. The one few times they actually do come into the zone with control, they score. How crazy is that, Rick Tocchet? I mean, he said he wanted to see the team make more plays, right? Stop dumping it in and just going through the motions, right? But that's not what they're doing. They just do that all the time. Come on, Rick Tocchet. Like, is it not the coach's job to think of plays and do all this stuff? I don't know. You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Canucks and the Oilers. I will say, I do have Darnell Nurse and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on my primary fantasy team, and I was like, yes, let's go, Nugent-Hopkins. Multiple points, goal and an assist on the power play. Like, when he scored the 5-0 power play goal, I legitimately screamed. I was like, yes! Let's go! Because I needed the power play points for my fantasy team. And I was like, yeah, you know, the Canucks aren't going to do anything. They're going to lose. It's 5-0. What do you want? Thatcher Demko's leaking like my gosh darn nose in the third period of this game. So, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Canucks and the Oilers. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.